Hi everyone, it's Ash from FPL Hints, here to show my first draft ahead of the UCL Fantasy Last 16. As always, if you're able to like, share and subscribe, that would be greatly appreciated. Do a quick check-in with how the playoffs went, followed by the match-offs for the last 16, and then I'll get straight into my draft. So as we can see on screen there, first of all, PSG demolished Brest 10-0 on aggregate, and their reward for that win is a matchup against Premier League leaders Liverpool. No doubt that's going to be an action-packed tie. Then we've got Club Brugge surprisingly defeated Atalanta. They've got Aston Villa for their troubles in the last 16. And then we've got a Madrid derby following Man City's defeat to Real Madrid. And it's Real against Atletico in the last 16 on the 4th of March. And then PSV, who have done amazingly well to get this far. For their troubles, they've got Arsenal. And on the other side of the draw, we've got Benfica, who did enough against Monaco. They'll play Barcelona. Dortmund will be up against Lille. And then we've got Bayern Munich, who've got Bayer Leverkusen in an all-German tie. And last but not least, got Feyenoord, who did amazingly well to get as far as they've gotten. Another Dutch team in this phase that has done really well. And they're up against Inter Milan. So we can effectively see with this draw that it's very likely, or I'd say it's very possible that we could potentially have an all-English quarter final with Aston Villa and Liverpool if things go their way. And then you could have a potential matchup here with Arsenal against Real Madrid. Got Barcelona, Dortmund potentially in the quarterfinals here. And again, it's a really tough one, but could be Bayern or Leverkusen against Inter Milan for the quarterfinals. So with my team as it stands, again, we've got unlimited transfers ahead of the round of 16. And with my first draft, there are a few changes that I'll obviously need to make as well. So Di Gregorio disappointingly crashed out, as did Gatti. And yeah, Theo Hernandez was an incredible disappointment in UCL Fantasy this season. Yeah, 13% owned, but he literally offered nothing at all. In fact, what I'm going to do is just deselect all the players, and then we're going to just look at those fixtures again. And again, the key here now is, yes, I've got unlimited transfers, but at the same time, with the unlimited transfers, I need to be mindful of which team am I going to back for the next round. So onto the chart once again. Dortmund against Lille, straight off the bat, I would favour Dortmund heavily, despite Lille being somewhat of a surprise package. So straight to Dortmund, and the players that come into mind, I mean, Schlotterbeck would definitely be an option. Girassi, definitely an option there. Cabell, I think I could actually probably go for him at £5 million potentially. Just bring it on screen here. So Schlotterbeck, Girassi, Ademi, and Cabell. They're the players that are in the draft from now, straight off the bat, just due to the favourable fixture. Coming back to the actual draw again, the other draw that catches my eye, I think Arsenal against PSV. I certainly would like to get at least a triple up of Arsenal, just purely because say it's yeah, reasonably favourable enough tie. I think the downside with Arsenal is that there's no Saka, so that is a bit of a blow. He's expected to be back later in March, so I think that's something that will be worth factoring in. So I also wanted to just provide confirmation actually of the actual transfers. So unlimited now, we get 3 free transfers for the second leg, 5 for the quarterfinals, first leg, 3, 5, 3, and then the final we get 5 once again. Also, just to provide confirmation that as was the case in the playoffs, 4 players per club. Round of 16, it's also 4 players per club, and it just goes up in increments from the quarterfinals to the semi-finals to the final. And that's the reason why I've got 4 Dortmund players in this first draft. So I did mention Arsenal is another club in terms of players that I want to factor in, and definitely want an Arsenal defender. I'll get in Gabriel. Again, Saka is injured, so can't really get him in at this moment in time. And Arsenal, in fact, have quite a few injuries as a whole, which is a bit of a problem. But just for the sake of having one attacking player, hopefully is guaranteed some minutes, I'm just going to put Trossard in for the time being. And the goalkeeping situation, just going onto the draw chart again, that like in terms of clean sheets, where am I seeing clean sheets here? I can't see any in PSG Liverpool. Potentially Aston Villa, but they've got a lot of defensive injuries, so probably not. Definitely not in the Madrid derby tie. Arsenal, I potentially can see some, possibly with Inter Milan. Not in the all-German tie. Dortmund, I do. Potentially in Barcelona as well. So what I'm going to do, just for the sake of this actual first draft, I'm going to pick David Raya as well. And let's go straight to Barcelona now. So let's try and make it work with Rafinha and Lewandowski, and just to make sure Koundé is getting the regular starts. Just to show on screen here, Koundé, Rafinha, and Lewandowski have been picked. So I've got 41.6 million to fill the remaining 4 spots. Let's just sort this by all teams, apply the filters, highest owned players, any clear misses. I've got Hakimi, not going to be picking Hakimi for sure. Against Liverpool, Yamal, I'm not going to. Got Harry Kane, Bayern Munich against Leverkusen. I mean, just looking at the points actually, who are the misses? Got Florian Wirtz, of course. Definitely need to give him consideration. I think Pavlidis has completely flown under the radar, and I've not had him in any of my drafts at all. Wouldn't get Griezmann. I think just for the sake of having some sort of attacking cover from Leverkusen, I am going to pick Florian Wirtz, in he comes. And one attacking asset from Bayern Munich has to be Harry Kane. So let's make sure with him. There he is. So got him there as well. So I've got 3 slots. I'll easily be able to use that £23 million. Just coming back to the draw chart once again. So I think Real Madrid, I need some sort of Real Madrid cover. And I think the player that comes to mind for Real Madrid would be Jude Bellingham. I think that's a no-nonsense pick right there. So 13.9 million to fill the defensive berths. Just get that confirmed right there. And with Van Dijk against PSG, probably not. But I would be getting Trent Alexander-Arnold in. I think that's definitely worth considering for sure as an option. And just looking at the other options, I mean, in terms of actual points, got Grimaldo, but he's against Bayern Munich. Nuno Mendes against PSG. I mean, there's not really much to think. But I do want to get some sort of Inter Milan cover as well. So if we just go to Inter Milan, in terms of points, if there's any standout options, you got De Vrij, who picked up points at the start. Also, was basically not blanked. Just going all the way back from Red Star Belgrade up until the final group match against Monaco. He only blanked once, and that was against Leverkusen. I think De Vrij would be a good shout. I have a quadruple up of Cabell, Schlotterbeck, Girassi, and Ademi. A triple up of David Raya, Gabriel, Trossard, and then triple up from Barcelona. And from that point onwards, I've tried to be a bit more cautious in terms of players. I think the biggest miss, in fact, if I just bring this in terms of all players owned on percentage, you already see it, that Mohamed Salah is the big miss from this actual draft. But you look at, surprisingly, not really a template player in UCL Fantasy as it stands. So that's something that is worth pointing out there as well. So I wouldn't really lose out if he went on a rampage. I think like an Mbappe Am I missing perhaps, or like someone more robust, like a Vinicius Junior, probably missing against in this draft? I mean, who would I potentially move around? I'd want Kane. I just can't rely on the likes of Musiala, Sane, and the like from Bayern Munich. So I'd lock Kane in. I'd lock Guirassy in. I think Lewandowski could potentially go. So looking at his form in UCL Fantasy this season, it's been somewhat, I was going to say mixed, but when he hauls, and when he blanks, he blanks. So just something that is worth bearing in mind. In terms of total points, you've got Vinicius Junior, 64 points. In fact, let's just get it on the strikers. Mbappe just scored that hat trick, which kind of inflated his points slightly. But yeah, I think just for the time being, knowing what we know so far, I'm happy with this draft as a reference point. And then, of course, I'll build as we get closer towards those last 16 ties in week commencing the 3rd of March. So there we have it. That is my first draft, having had a look at the draw. And yeah, I mean, the glaring misses here, actually. I want Aston Villa cover as well. Probably include Ollie Watkins, perhaps, in a future draft. I haven't even got... I just, with Aston Villa against Club Brugge, who've been an interesting package. I mean, Club Brugge 5-2 against Atlanta. That is a very impressive result over 2 legs. I would probably consider more Aston Villa cover, but yeah, defensively not, because they've got those injury issues. But like an Ollie Watkins would potentially fit. If I was moving more players around and then I don't have 2.9 million in the bank, I could easily switch out Trossard for Ademi and then upgrade, let's say, Lewandowski for a Vinicius Junior or Mbappe, perhaps. But in terms of the defensive assets, it would be from these teams, from what I can gather. So yeah, that is my first draft in UCL Fantasy ahead of the last 16. I'll do an updated draft, and as always, I'll do my confirmed draft probably a day or on the day itself of the first leg. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Have I got the balance right? Have I got the balance wrong? Are there any glaring misses from this draft that need to be included in my updated draft? Keen to hear your thoughts. And yeah, I mean, looking at some of those options, I could give them more food for thought, but it's just clear that from the fixtures that we can see for this last 16, I kind of feel that they're very front weighted. Some of these teams could potentially have been meeting in a quarters or a semi-finals, like PSG and Liverpool, Real and Atletico, Bayern Munich and Bayern Leverkusen. I kind of feel that it doesn't feel right that these are in the last 16, but again, it's just the way the format is. It's just the way the teams have performed this season that we are where we are. As always, if you're able to like, share, and subscribe, that would be greatly appreciated. Take care and all the best.